writer or a storyteller? Like, how are you defining yourself?
I think I'm a comedian and a writer. I think those two things. I think the first thing that comes to mind is comedian, just because
Mm,
that's how I started. That's what all the other stuff came out of doing that. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
And so
of course.
even if maybe like I'm not sure that stand up would be like right now. It kind of oscillates, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite of all those things. But I do
Sure.
identify as a comedian, a comedian
Yeah,
who
yeah.
writes, a comedian who directs, a comedian who, because of doing comedy, I could act passably enough that they have let me star and shit. So, that
Yeah.
that is kind of the vehicle that got me there. So that at heart, that's what I am.
I hear that. I hear that. Yeah. So at the core, it's there for you for sure, man. Like, what was it that first drew you to comedy? Like, when did you know? Because I often think of it as that distinction of, especially like when we're all in school, and you always have like the kid who's funny, but not every
Sure.
kid who's funny ends up becoming a comedian. Like, when did you realize, like, oh, I could do this for real?
When did I realize I could do it for real? I don't know. I mean, I don't know that there was. I'm trying to think of a moment when I was like, I think it was a thing that I'd wanted to do for so long. From when I was a
Uh huh.
kid, I wanted to do comedy from like hearing stand up and listening to like the most famous comics when I'm like in middle school and wanting to
Yeah,
do it,
yeah.
but not being the class clown. I was not the loud one. I wasn't
Got
the
you.
kid who
Got you.
I wasn't the kid who stood up and shouted a joke to everybody. I was the kid who whispered a joke to one person, and then if they
Right.
laughed,
Right.
I would whisper it to somebody else, and then
Exactly.
like um, so I think it was a long time of kind of working up the courage for it. And then once I went to school in Chicago, so I grew up in New York, and then when I went to school in
Mhm.
Chicago, that kind of I felt permission to go and try it. You know what I mean? Because it's like
Mhm.
college, you kind of have time to like reinvent yourself and try new shit and all of that.
Yeah.
And so I felt kind of comfortable. I felt comfortable going and failing and being bad in anonymity. You know what I mean? Because
That's
it's a
real.
place. So like, there's something, when people like start and sometimes you see people like, they're new, they're doing a bar show or a bringer show or whatever, and they bring all their family and friends, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
For real.
I would never, not in a
That's not
million
you.
years. I didn't want anybody I knew for a good amount of time there. You
That's
know what I
real.
mean? Like, I
Wow.
wanted because it's a thing you care about and it's a thing that you like want to be good at. You care about
Right.
the thing and you care about being good, and so you want to work at it and you want to like get it to a place where it's not like the novelty of like get a photo of me so I can post on Instagram of me holding a microphone or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
I
right.
want this to be a thing, and so I think it just became easier the more you do it and the more you're bad at it,
Uh-huh.
the more you get used to it and the more you just chip away like anything else. You get a little less bad every time, and
That's real
I
with
think it was seeing that process and building up that muscle and the
mm,
consistency of it where I'm
mhm.
like, okay, I can do this because I
Yeah.
this is a process I can commit to and I enjoy it,
Mm,
and I don't care. I'm okay with how tough it is. I'm okay with the fact that it doesn't go well sometimes. Like, all
right.
of that is fine. And so once you're okay with that, I think that's the moment of like, oh, okay, I can do this because
Mhm.
you're there at the worst. The worst is the beginning. And
Of course.
so if you're good with that, like, then it's just the stamina, which is not a small thing, but that's what it is.
Yeah. That's real. Now, I love like when you're talking about not inviting friends and family because I've been that friend going to support another friend doing comedy,
Sure, sure.
and they're great. But it's like the folks who are there, and it's like, yo, at the beginning, this is kind of sad. Like it's hard to
It
laugh at the
is.
beginning because people just like, I'm like, this is therapy for you. This ain't really like
Right.
you're not telling jokes. We're the psychs right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right, 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 right. Yeah, this is a thing that you need to work through, and we're all here.
Right.
We're all here so you don't off yourself. Yeah, yeah. So
Basically,
we're just
basically,
so
we're
it's
your
like,
system to
okay,
support.
yeah, great work, man. It's
Yeah,
all
bro, I
okay.
gotta clap.
It's
I
all
gotta clap.
okay,
Exactly.
and it's good you're out of that relationship, and just you'll
Thousand
regret
percent.
it. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Exactly. It's like,
yeah.
you deserve better, you know what I mean?
Hmm, hmm.
So when you sit down to write, whether you're thinking about this is going to be a stand up bit or a whole project, what does your process look like? Like what are the things that you need in order to be able to say, okay, I'm inspired? Is it more like spontaneous? You're just observing life. You're like, oh, I got to go right now. Like, what's your process?
I'm pretty I'm pretty disciplined with I like my routine, you know?
Hmm.
And I've developed this over time, but I like and this wasn't always the case. You kind of try and figure it out, well, basically, if I'm writing like a script or a bigger project or something,
Hmm.
like I have my routine where it's like I, wake up, I do what I have to do, shower, I make my espresso, I have my espresso
Yeah,
machine, like I need
let's
that.
go.
I like a big, desk that I'm at now where I can like
Hmm.
sprawl my papers out and have my laptop, and then
Real.
from like 10:30 to 2
Hmm.
ish,
Hmm.
like I try to be productive with the work that I have to do, whether it's like I'm trying to fix this script, I need to turn around these notes
Hmm.
and revise this thing and send it back to somebody. I need to
Right.
write this thing and submit it to whatever. Like you always have these like tasks.
Hmm.
I'm big with to-do lists. I really like to-do lists, and I like
Hmm.
having to-do lists. I A big thing that was helpful for me early on that I still do is I don't like to-do lists on the day of, because I think
Come
when you
on.
wake up and you are like, what should I work on today? The day's over. And so
Yeah.
I think it's
Agreed.
good to wake up knowing, because so much of this creative shit is like giving structure yourself,
Yeah.
and so it's like, how do you impose that? And just in the same way that the CEOs, they have their outfit laid out so they
Hmm.
can like just have one less decision to make. I think
That's
it's the
right.
same if you have one less decision to make for a shit to work on, like
Uh,
that makes it easier to get going.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So your process is basically your Steve Jobs turtleneck. Like that's what keeps you locked into what you need to do.
Yeah, well, I like morning. I do better in the morning than later in the
Uh-huh.
day when I have like energy and stuff, because I like waking
Real.
up and being a person. And then, because then by 2, even if I get nothing done after that, I've
Yeah.
gotten stuff done already. You know what
Substantial
I mean?
stuff.
So like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so it's like and some people, it's like, oh, they're like, I get really inspired at night and da da da. No,
Right.
it's not me. Then there might be little bursts or whatever. I
Uh-huh.
will write sometimes, like I have a Substack. Sometimes that's one that, because it's kind of free writey, so that I'll kind of do that
Exactly.
there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but the more like script, like structure, all that stuff, I
Hmm.
just do better with that in the morning.
Got you.
Stand up is hard. That's like impossible no matter what time of day. I mean, that one
Yeah.
is more like, because that one, it's like it's impossible to like write out.
Hmm.
I mean, you can, but like, well, what I realized early on with stand up is like, that I think most comics realize early on is like, when you get up and have it written word for word, it's going to sound super book reporty,
Ooh,
and
I
like
imagine.
you can hear the Microsoft Word. You know what I
Yeah, yeah,
mean? Like
sure.
you can hear where they clicked enter and thought there'd be a laugh or whatever, and
Right.
it's like, what you got to figure out is like, okay, how do I know what I'm going to say, but also still make it feel alive and present, and like
Yeah.
make eye contact with people and connect. And in the same way, like an artist, you hear an artist, like they might, you look up how they sing the song in concert, and
Mm,
the same song they sing 10 different ways. You know what I mean?
for
It's like
real.
finding those different ways to say the joke that keep you
Yeah.
active and
Right.
engaged and present, and maybe reflective with where your mood is or the energy in the room. It's like all
Hmm.
these little nuances that and still fuck up
Yeah, yeah.
constantly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
sure.
like anything, you make the same mistakes hundreds of times, but like, but you get better each time.
Yeah, that
Hopefully,
makes
even if
sense.
even if the result of each show isn't better.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. I've said this with other like comedian friends of mine because in my previous life I was a full-time school teacher and now I'm a minister and I think about like comedians, like preachers, teachers all
Yeah,
kind of work in the same corner, different
yeah,
corners
yeah,
on the same block. And everything that you're saying just really like translates in the sense of I can't go before a congregation and just like read it out word for
right,
word. Like
right.
or like hold for applause in parentheses here. Like that wouldn't make any sense. But just really understand it's a dynamic, it's a dance you have with the group of people that you're speaking to.
And I'm fascinated by preachers by you guys because you're so good at that. I had a friend who I think he left. I don't think he's a preacher anymore. But I was walking in Fort
Uh,
Greene and I passed a
yeah, yeah,
Lafayette Presbyterian Church, and it was
yeah,
like
yeah.
it was like please welcome our new pastor, and it was a dude I went to high school with, and
What?
who's from Flatbush originally. And so
Uh-huh.
I messaged him and I was like, "Yo,
Yeah.
you got a church? Like what the?"
Right, right,
And
right.
then I went and saw a sermon he did, and yeah, it was
Uh,
fascinating for all the public speaking and engaging with people and making them feel connected and all of that.
yeah,
It's interesting to me how people could do that, and
yeah.
people's different speaking styles and ability to like draw people in, I think is really
Mm,
interesting and also so important with like no matter what, whether you're doing comedy, whether you're addressing audiences or we're always addressing an audience. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's we're
absolutely,
pitching
absolutely.
something and you're trying to get money or whatever, or you're like working with somebody new, and like it's all
Mm,
like how do you connect with the person, you know?
no
So
doubt about it.
it's super interesting how people do that in different ways, you know?
Yeah, for
And
sure. Ha-
teaching all the more so, you know, like because
Come on.
I've done that as well, and that's like
Right.
how do you reach these restless kids who
Oh,
we remember being a kid? That's the last place you wanted to be when you were a kid.
right.
So how do you go in with that awareness and not delusional? Because you're like, when did I fall asleep? When they were just reciting the information, and I'm
Exactly.
like, I don't care. You know what I mean? But it's like when
No,
you just
of
talk
course.
to them, and I'm like, I see you. It's okay.
Right.
I see you.
Yes.
Let's make this like alive in some way, you know,
Right.
and aware they still want to get the fuck out of there, but how do you make it
Absolutely.
enjoyable, you know?
Right, right, right. Making that a complete, just like melting of their souls in the
Right.
process. And
Right.
exactly. So when you're doing your work, because thinking about like Flatbush misdemeanors, which I want to talk about later, but just your style of humor also comes with depth. So how are you balancing that? Like you don't shy away from topics that are raw, uncomfortable, personal. How do you sort of like understand? Okay, I'm gonna get really real, but I'm also gonna make it funny. How you work that out?
Um, I don't know. It's uh I mean, I guess it's conscious on some level. I don't know.
Mm,
You do just kind of feel it out, and it's like the rhythm of the thing. And this is
mhm,
where I do feel like when you ask how I identify myself, like I'm a comedian because like you know if I'm writing a script or something, or if I'm
mm,
doing a bit or something, and you're hitting something that is like real or sincere, which I like.
yeah.
I really like that stuff. That's like, oh, this is a real anecdote, or this is a micro
Mm-hmm.
character thing, or this is like you know, it just in conversation, this is what I would be doing. I'd be breaking shit down and be thinking
Right.
about the psychology behind stuff. And, but then also what makes you comic is like what makes that thing funny, you know?
Mhm.
And it's you anyway, you feel in you feel in the rhythm of the scene, like, okay, this needs a joke here. And some of
Got
that
you,
is
got you,
like
got you, got you.
feeling like, okay, I'm getting a little this is getting a little self-serious or whatever, you know what I
Sure,
mean?
sure,
You
sure.
don't want it to drift into didactic, you don't want it to be
Yeah.
lectury.
Right, right,
Because to
right.
me, that's when I'm like and, you know, I could go on a whole thing about that, but about
Uh-huh.
like the writing I like the most is when I
Mm,
feel like you're hitting these serious topics, but it's
mhm.
not you're not beating it, shoving it down somebody's throat. Like
Yeah, yeah.
you're letting them think about the thing and pull and extract what they want,
Uh-huh.
and you haven't made the decision for the audience.
Right,
That's
right.
what turns me off when I feel like they've decided in a show, movie, whatever, the
Mhm.
writer has decided who's right, who's wrong, whatever.
Ah,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Of course, of
That's the
course.
thing that I'm kind of like, I don't know, especially when you're dealing with other characters. It's like
Yeah.
everybody thinks they're right. Do you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
everybody has a point of view they're coming from. Everybody's the protagonist. So how do you like flesh that out in
Right.
a way that to me that's interesting, you know? And so
Absolutely.
anyway, so it's fun to balance all those like how do you hit these macro social issues but in a like a grounded comedic way. And so the thing that I
Yeah.
like to do generally is I start with a small funny thing and then
Mhm.
I zoom out behind it, so it's like the little kernel
Mhm.
first, and then you zoom out and you see like what's the depth behind that, how do you dig deeper
Right.
into that, you know what I mean? And
That makes
that
sense.
works
That
much
makes
better
sense.
for me than like I want to talk about mental health, or I want to talk about divorce, or I want to talk about drug addiction or whatever. Because
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
I don't know, the theme forward thing is a little, I can't
Got you.
quite
It
do
becomes like
that.
an after school special.
Yeah, it feels like I've said this, but it feels like the reverse of like it feels like, you know how like a science experiment, they say, you know, you have a hypothesis and you test
Right.
it, and you could think you know what is going to happen, but maybe you don't,
Right.
and maybe it's that,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe it's not. And so to me,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
how I always like to think about it. It should be that, you know what I
For
mean?
sure,
Like
for sure.
you think you have an idea, like, oh, maybe I reacted this way because of XYZ, and then you
Right.
dig and you dig and you're like, oh wait, I think maybe it's this other thing, you know?
Yeah. Your
It's a
hypothesis change.
Right, you don't want it to feel prescriptive. You don't want it to feel
Yeah, I get you.
prescriptive. You wanna, like, be in the thing.
That makes sense. That makes sense for sure. So thinking a bit about when going back to stand up for a second, like when you are performing, uh how has that shaped your sense of like understanding who you are as a performer? Because I mentioned before you're talking about really enjoying the writing process and you're like, I guess they let me act and things of that nature. But when you're up there and you're like engaging with the crowd, how has that shaped your understanding of what you need to do as a performer?
I think I mean, the big thing is the confidence you get from doing
Mm.
it, and it's kind of fun for me, like, in stand-up to, like so when you start out, it's brutal. You're going up at
Yeah.
open especially in New York,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're going up at open mics in other cities, Chicago, wherever, there might
Mhm.
be an audience. Open mics in New York City, you're only going up for other comedians. Those are the
Yeah.
only people who are there because there's so much entertainment in New York. Nobody
Right.
is choosing to go to an open mic, nor should they. And
Nor should they.
it's kind of like, okay, you're going up for people who are inherently not interested. Some of
Yeah.
them are brutal environments.
Yes.
There's great comics who you meet there, and then there's the most mentally ill people you've ever seen in your life,
Here.
who you'll see in the New York Post years later with some crime whenever they get them or whatever. It's like whatever, but um, but anyway, so you get used to the silence, and
Yeah.
then it became a fun thing of like,
Mm.
okay, how do you not panic? You know,
Yeah.
how do you stay in it? And it's kind of fun for me on stage if I'm drawing something out.
Mhm.
I have bits where I might draw something out, and I like to let it dangle for a moment and play
Sure.
with the tension in the room and play with the silence,
Yeah.
and then hit them. I know where it's going, but
Right.
it's fun for me to have a second where I'm almost trying to make them think I don't know where it's going.
Come
Like,
on.
that's really fun
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me because then again, you're it's like, how do I keep them active and engaged? And there are
Mhm.
performers who I love who are able to run around and hop on the stage and
Yeah.
turn the stool upside down or whatever. And
Right, right,
like,
right, right.
great for them. Like,
Uh-huh.
great for them. I love it. I love watching it. That ain't me.
Right, right, right.
And so then it's like, okay, well, how do you still keep people pulled in to what
Mhm.
you're doing? And so
Mhm.
for me, that was one way I found, and that when that works, that like gives you a lot of confidence in your voice because
For
it's like,
sure.
okay, I can just stay with this, and I know this lands, and
Yeah.
so I can have fun with the journey of it
Mhm.
and keep them right there. And then once they see that it hits, it's fun to earn their trust a little bit
Come
with
on,
each
right.
thing because you're just like, okay, you see, I know what I'm doing. It's
Mhm.
okay. And then that makes them relax, you
Of
know?
course.
Yeah.
I love that you use the whole language of like relaxing because there is such a sometimes unspoken, but when it gets bad, it becomes very loudly spoken tension of
Yeah.
like, is this going to be good or not?
Right.
And
Right.
and
Right. Right.
I've had that experience just even like at home watching a Netflix special. It could be a comedian that I really like, and I find myself almost like in the same way I was cheering for the Knicks when they were bad. Like
Right.
I'm pulling for you to make
Right.
this turn around. I got 10 minutes left in in the special, but I need this
Right.
to be funny. And
Yeah.
so I totally hear that sense of like when I am enjoying good comedy, I do relax. Not only because laughter is
Right.
good for you, but it's also like, oh, thank God I didn't waste my time. You know what I mean?
Right. I can enjoy this. I can just be along for the ride. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's where it's like, I think especially now, you know what I mean? I think
Hmm.
there's stuff that like I don't know. I think there's a lot of stuff that is maybe trying to be that's why I'm saying like I like the stuff that hits issues but in a way that is not too serious
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
feel like there's a lot of serious shit
Hmm.
everything's sad and bad, you know
Oh,
what I mean? And
yeah.
so it's like, and so it's still good to be like aware of that, but how do you package it in a way that it's like, this is still fun, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's still letting people relax, and it doesn't have to erase everything that's happening, but still,
Right.
like, let's Flintstones vitamin this stuff, you know? Like,
Flintstone
we all
vitamin.
we all worked, we're all tired, we all wanna just
Right.
enjoy this thing. Whether you're at home, you just wanna be on the couch, enjoy it, and just be
Yeah.
high and laugh at a thing, or you wanna have a drink, like, at an event and just watch this thing, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like, we don't
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
I think some comics are so dark and tortured all throughout the day that then they get on stage and need to
Right.
torture the audience, and I'm like,
That's the thing.
"Man, they're here." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a big pet peeve of mine, is when a comedian will sometimes, like, grumble at the crowd for
Ooh.
not being a bigger crowd, or not, laughing as much as the comedian thinks they should
Ah,
laugh,
that's
because I
painful.
think that's some preemptive, feel free to stop me if I'm getting off topic, but like
You're good.
a very common thing you'll see comics do is, we know the biggest laugh that each joke has gotten. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Of
And
course.
so if that doesn't happen, like, I'm conscious of that, but the audience sometimes isn't. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Right.
if it's not a palpable, like, Def Jam booing you off the stage thing,
Right.
sometimes
Right.
it's just like, all right, they're just whatever. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But
You're the
then
man.
the comic will be like, oh, you guys hate me. And you see the
Yeah.
audience go like, oh, I guess we do. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah.
you're telling them how to feel when it's like, yo, this was fine before. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
it's like,
You're the one messing
oh,
it up.
right. It's like, oh, there's only 12 of you here or whatever. Like, and I'm like, yeah, but they're here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They want this to be fun.
Of
They are the
course.
people who are like, want this to be something because they just couldn't bear to sit with each other on the couch for another
Come
night.
on.
So let's bring them something, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You can't punish the people who are there for those who aren't there. That's never made sense to me. I've always hated that.
For sure, and I get it comes out of insecurity, and,
Right.
performers, they're all insecure on some level, but it's like,
Absolutely.
you gotta keep it to the green room,
Yeah.
keep it internal,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yell at them in the back room.
Right,
Exactly.
right, right.
Yep. So now I got to talk about Flatbush Misdemeanors. Such a like I've never obviously I've never said this to you before. Such an incredible show. I would tell you
Oh,
personally.
thanks, man.
I started watching it when I took a job in Virginia that made me move from New York. So it was a way for me to deal with like homesickness. I was like, oh
Oh,
Flatbush,
that's real
yes, this is good. This is gonna be great. So thank you
oh,
for the show.
that's really
Um,
nice.
of course, man. Of course. So take us back to the origins, man. Like, what sparked the ideas? Like, we know Brooklyn's not a real place. We know that it's a movie every single day. But what allowed you to say, you know what, this needs to be a show for real?
That's a good way of putting it. Well, we were making some, like, little, like, sketches, shorts that were, like, half were set in the business-y world, and
Mhm.
half were set in what became Flatbush,
Yeah.
and they were both fun, but it felt like there were a good amount of the businessy stuff at the time, The Office, like all those kinds of, like,
Right. Right.
corporate satires, and this
Uh-huh.
felt like a little, I don't know, a little more, like, unexplored, a little more, like, exciting,
Mhm.
and then kind of, I mean, it's just started as these little shorts where, like, Kareem Green, who plays my
Yes.
stepdad in the show,
Yes.
great comedian,
Hilarious.
we did a thing with him, and he was so funny yelling at me that I was like, "Well, he should be my stepdad,"
Right.
and so wrote it as a pilot. It was like a 35-page script.
Uh-huh.
Showed it to I'd sold one pilot before. I'd sold, like, an animated pilot that
Okay.
it was about a city bus driver. It was called
Mhm.
That's My Bus.
Okay.
And sold it to Fox, developed
Uh-huh.
it, didn't go to series, but
Gotcha.
I was able to learn all the steps of development
Right.
and working with a network and all that stuff. And so
Hmm.
then wrote Flatbush, showed it to people, and they're like, "I don't really know what this is. I don't really see it. I can't really
Mm.
envision it." And so then it was kind of like, okay, well, let's just make it,
Yeah.
and then they can see it. So then cut anything that would be budget, just had 15 pages of scraps, shot it piecemeal, borrowed a
Mhm.
friend's camera, bribed a janitor to let us into a school one day, like,
That's awesome.
uh, told the janitor that, yes, your 10-year-old white kid can be in the scene as you demand, and then
Yes.
cropped him out, like,
That's
whatever.
hilarious.
Um, just the beg, borrow, steal to get the thing made. And
No doubt.
then It was like a 15-minute short. Technically, it was a mess. No, like
Mm.
bad sound. Shot it on 3 different cameras. Like couldn't color it, couldn't mix it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it had jokes and it had the feel and
Right.
it had the like vibe of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so threw it online. Nobody saw it. Nobody cared. But
Got you.
then it found life on the film festival circuit because
Okay.
it would play in these narrative shorts blocks. Which, if you've
Mm-hmm.
ever been to a film festival, like the narrative shorts, they're all so sad. Like it's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
people, like it's all like NYU, USC kids trying to make features, and
Got
so it'll
you.
be like a baby dies or somebody
Oh
gets
gosh.
deported or a burn victim or like
Oh
it's like tragedy, tragedy, tragedy. And
yeah.
so Flatbush would like it would crush. It would always it wouldn't always win, but it would
Yeah.
do the best in the room because it
Right.
was just levity. It was something else,
Exactly.
and the jokes and the like positive energy of it
Mhm.
offset the technical deficiencies of it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so it had a nice festival run, and so had like 3 15-minute shorts. The first
Mhm.
one is the one that had the run, and so 3 15-minute shorts, and then got some momentum from that. One production company made an offer for it, and then once
Mm.
one makes an offer, then 3 more pop up and have this fear of missing out, and so then they're like, "No, we want it."
Yeah,
Nobody wants to
yeah.
be the first person that says something is good. They wanna
Right,
be
right.
the 10th,
Third.
20th, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So, started working with one and then developed it for networks and then
Mhm.
pitched it to networks. Pitched to, like, 6 places. I think we had, like, 4 offers from the 6 we pitched to. But Showtime was the best, and
Okay.
they just got it. They understood what it was.
Yeah.
The shorts gave them a sense of the tone and stuff,
Got you.
and then developed it for there, and then yeah, got it straight to series order on it. So that was kind of the arc of how we had to write two scripts for them, like the first and
Okay.
second episode. So the first episode was kind of like very similar to what the first web series episode was, and
Yeah,
then the
yeah.
second episode was very similar to what the third one was, but
Yeah.
more fleshed out, like more depth, all that stuff. And yeah, that was kind of a 3 or 4 year long thing. I just condensed
Wow.
down to a minute, but yeah, I mean it takes a while, man.
It
Yeah,
was a journey for real.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Got you, got you.
But in a way that once you're going, you're like, okay, I'm ready to go because I've honed this 100 times over,
Right.
and you know what you want to do, and all the trying and failing and
Mhm.
all of that stuff. Like, I think the filming stuff independently,
Mhm.
like, is so helpful because then it lets you the more constraints you have to work with, the better it makes you because
Got
you
you.
just have to figure it out, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And so then when we're making the Showtime show, like the studio is like freaking out that we don't have a lot of money compared
Right.
to other shows. But I'm
Right.
like, I was just bribing a janitor. You know what I
That's
mean?
right,
Like,
that's right.
I've never been in a place that we're allowed to be in other than my
Exactly.
apartment. Like,
Right,
so
right.
when you have that experience, it does make you calmer under pressure. It makes you,
Absolutely.
which is so helped in filming, like creating. That's everything. Is just
Yeah.
like, because it's limited time, limited resources. You need to be able to be like, all right, we'll figure this out.
Right. You're making me think about like that it's a matter of perspective, like where like the Showtime folks are like, this is not enough. You're like, this is more than I've ever had to work with. Like,
100%. Yeah,
yeah.
and especially like, you know, I worked with some people who came out of like '90s peak TV, where you
Oh my
just got
gosh, right.
thrown tens of
Yes.
millions of
Yes.
dollars or whatever to make 24 episode seasons, and
Right, right, right.
every staff writer owns a boat. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like all
yes.
this crazy shit that is
Uh,
not
that's gone.
reality anymore,
It's gone, right.
long gone. So then it's like I'm like, no, this is okay, man. This is
Yeah.
really
I'll,
okay.
I'll be
Yeah,
I'll be fine. Right, right.
right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, for sure.
So you worked with such brilliant actors, hilarious comedians on this show. What was that dynamic like, and just like the partnership and collaboration within and behind the show? Just like bringing in all these different artistic geniuses to work with you. Like as you reflect on it, looking back, like what was that experience like for you?
It was awesome. I mean, I love comedians. I've joked like, there, there's a few things working with comedians. They might not know their lines. They might not have looked at the script.
Right.
They're not going to know what they're doing and why they're there. But the thing with comedians is they know who they are. They
Yeah.
have their voice so honed, like because you have to. And so if you make them comfortable and put them at ease, they
Yeah.
make every single scene better. And that's what like Yamanika Saunders, who played my therapist on the show, who
Yes.
yells at
Yes.
me, she's incredible. So it's
So
like,
funny.
you know, Kareem Green, who played my stepdad. Like we had Maria Bamford, who played my mom. Roy Wood Jr., who played the principal. Like these are
That
some of the
scene.
best comics. Like,
Yes.
and so just putting them there and letting them go, and they're great performers. So they just like bring it to life in such a cool, like exciting way. And then also to get to work with some like really, really good. I mean, Hassan Johnson is like,
Come on.
you know,
Brilliant.
he's like a
Brilliant.
legend. And
Yes.
I didn't know how funny he was. He's like, I knew he's a great
So
actor, but
funny.
he's so funny. And
Yeah.
he's so, and I've said this to him like a comedian, so in control of his voice. Like he can say, I would joke with him, I was like, he could say, drink that healthy soda or I'm gonna kill you in the
Oh.
exact same inflection. And
Yeah.
they're both real, they're both funny.
Right.
Like, and he's so likable. He's so likable that we would do scenes where he's trying to beat up my guy and I'm rooting for
Right.
him. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I'm
for
like,
sure.
yeah,
For sure.
kill him, you know, because he's just like, and that's such a unique ability. And that just speaks to his like his precision as an actor that feels so effortless. Like it
Yeah.
feels so effortless that I could say to Hassan, like, hey, this next take, wait, could you try like this, 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 and this? And he's like, got it. And
Yeah.
just like, so he's just able to dial in.
Yes.
So it's really in his pinky. It's incredible to watch. Like
Yeah.
he's so good. And Zoe Winters was another one who was incredible. She was on Succession. She played Logan's assistant on Succession.
That's right. That's right.
She's running the arts fellowship like in the show, and it was cool seeing how they work. Like so Zoe is coming from a school like unlike Hassan, who's probably never done this in his life. Like Zoe wrote like a 40-page like character breakdown of this part that I couldn't write one page on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she just preps, and you see that in the results. She would come in with alts. She would come in with like this backstory and energy that she could then riff and like bring such life to this character that was like, frankly, underwritten. You know, and she was able to bring that. And I mean, that's a big thing. And it's like, and the other thing I like took away that was like the biggest thing is like beyond just like the cast is like, you know, the writers, like, you know, bringing their experience into the room when we're like breaking story, but also like the crew. And that was something that was awesome to get that experience with is like, you have like production designers and props and like people who are like able to like, it's called breaking down the script when you read the script and break it down to think like, okay, it's not just about like, what's a cool outfit for them to wear, but like, what would they do? Where is their mindset right now? Like, like what kind of mode are they in? Like, what would their apartment be like that reflects this character in an active way? And working with and so if you find people who are funny, who are good at their job and funny, like that's incredible. And it makes your writing better because now you're writing, when you've seen it all come to life, it makes that specificity in your writing. You're thinking about it with so much more dimensions to it.
For sure.
And that's so fun. And then, so I'm super grateful for that experience, you know?
Absolutely.
Because I think it just makes you better in every way going forward, you know?
No question. No question. When you look back and you think about Flatbush Misdemeanors, like what are you most proud of and what do you wish more people understood about that show?
I mean, I'm really just really proud of, you know, it just started as a zero budget thing that nobody wanted to read the pilot of, and then as like a scrapped together digital thing that nobody watched, and sort of, I think the big thing that I am proud of is like it's fun to prove to myself over and over and over because we always have to do this. Like if you follow through with trust your instincts and follow through with that stuff,
Mhm.
like you can bring that to a place. And it's not about, we're in a time when it's like if it doesn't immediately go viral, somebody deletes the thing. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
right,
They,
for
they
real.
let they let the immediate feedback like scare them off what they think.
Yes.
When the best shit, I believe, like you hone it and you
Uh,
figure it out, and maybe there's some failure within it, but you don't abandon the kernel just because somebody said no right away. Like,
mhm.
if anything, that forces you to dig and figure out, no, what is interesting to you about it, and what you have to prove it. Like we're
Yeah.
talking about, like you have to prove it. And so to turn that into 2 seasons of a Showtime series that people really loved, like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm really proud of that, and I'm really
Mhm.
proud of the people I worked with who made it a good experience, and the people who I would work with again on anything. and
Awesome.
and the, as far as what I wish more people understood, I mean, it's interesting. I don't know. I the people who've seen the show, it has a little like cult following. You know what I mean?
Right, right,
It was.
right. I
It's
can see
not.
that.
It wasn't. It's not It's not Abbott or Young Sheldon or something. You know what
Right,
I
right,
mean?
Young Sheldon,
Like,
right.
but it has its fans.
Yeah.
People are so positive about it that it's really nice to whenever people reach out. And so I
Mhm.
guess I wish, I don't know. I just hope more people continue to find it. I mean, people
Yeah.
DM me every day because it's off US streamers right now.
Right.
People DM me every day. How do I watch it? And I send people the episodes every day. I send them
Man,
every single day. I send them the episodes because
there it is.
I just want them to see it. I want them to be able to find it, and I want them to be able to find the next things too. And
Yeah,
so just like I'm fine making that connection with every person. And so
totally.
that's the thing. Yeah, I guess just like the work that goes into each little piece of it,
Mhm.
I'm fine if people don't understand that, but I'm just like, it really does. And so you just want to share it. You want people to
Yeah,
find it, and I want you to be able to enjoy this thing at home. And then
absolutely.
if you look more carefully, I want you to see these little nuances. But
Right.
you can lean forward and pick up all this shit, or you can
Mhm.
sit back. However you want to
Either
sit,
way,
I want you to be able to enjoy it. Yeah.
here for it. Here for it for sure. Because I do think people do need an escape, and not everyone's in for like the like deep think. And I'm gonna write an essay as soon as I finish watching this episode. Like not everybody's gonna
Right.
be like that. Here
Right,
for it.
but it's like, but you give a little for each, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what's so fun about that show is like you can watch it and see like, oh, I'm putting little like chapter titles
Hmm.
here that if you want to look into the meaning and be one of the 2 people to DM me
That's
catching
right.
it, you're welcome to. And if you want to just sit back and be like, Kareem's funny, I'm like, great, he is funny. Like
That's right.
whatever. It's all fun. Like
Absolutely.
each one is equally fun for me. So
No doubt.
however people want to take it in.
No doubt. No doubt. So what are you working on now that you're excited about? Whether it's something in the stand-up world, writing, or another project. I know I follow you on Substacks. I see you churning and working on stuff. Like
Yeah,
what's getting you excited now?
Um, I made this doc short that I'm premiering tomorrow,
Okay.
actually, of when we're recording it. It's
Uh-huh.
called Being Buble, and so
All right.
this woman approached me. You can see the trailer online. This woman approached me after a show, and she's like, "You must get this all the time. You look exactly like Michael Bublé."
Oh, that's hilarious.
And and I didn't know. I thought, oh, maybe she wants to like make out with somebody who looks like Michael Bublé or something. So I was
Right.
like, oh, sure, I get that all the time. And I was like, and you find him attractive? And she's like, no.
Oh
She's like,
shoot.
my mom does. She's like, so my husband and I have been trying to find a Bublé impersonator for her 60th birthday on
Oh
Saturday.
my
We
god.
haven't been able to find one for less than 10 grand. And I was like, my rate is 9,950.
That's
That's a
right.
crazy. And she was like, you're kidding me. I was like, I'm kidding about that, but I would do it for 8 grand. And
Yeah.
so I wake up the next day to the DM. She's like, okay, we just want you to sing Feeling Good or lip sync and hang out for 30 minutes in character as Michael
Oh
Bublé.
my
Like
god.
the super fancy 2 Michelin star restaurant in
What?
Midtown. And we'll give you like this crazy amount of money. And I was like, I've never been more in with anything in my life.
Right.
And so anyway, I filmed the whole thing into a doc short of preparing for the gig and the gig itself. It's the most fun thing I've had because it's totally silly. It's like, and the
That is
same thing.
funny.
It's like there's stuff you could pop psychology from it, but
Right.
ultimately it's just a silly, fun
Yeah.
thing that was just so like, I don't know. The whole process was just joy. And so I
Oh, that's
loved
so
doing
funny.
that. So showing that. So that'll have like a festival run and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and I'm excited for that. And yeah, I'm developing these two like half-hour comedy shows.
Okay.
One's like a political thing, and one's like a mob type thing. And
Okay.
so just like comedy, you know, I like these different specific worlds. I'm
Right, right.
trying to have more money to make this coming of age feature next summer,
Good
adapted
stuff.
from this short film I made. So,
Good
you know,
stuff.
just hopping around, just keep creating, I guess
Got
is
to.
the thing, and try to find new, what are the things that keep us excited, you know? So
Yeah.
that's what I'm going for.
Absolute. How do you see your work and your comedy evolving in the next few years? Are there, you talk about like a mob show and a politics show, which actually ain't that dissimilar nowadays, right? But like kind of
Right.
working on the same side.
Right. Totally.
But how do you see your creativity continuing to evolve?
I think I mean, I think I'm just kind of like honing what I do better. You know, I would love to
Got you.
make shows and films and stuff that I like, that sort of like, okay, character driven. I like jokes. I like these themes underneath it. And I
Mhm.
just kind of want to get better at that. And also, you know, would love to reach more. I have no sort of thing of like I need to be, you know, the biggest star or whatever.
Got
I've
you.
always just wanted to work consistently and to have the
Hmm.
resources to consistently create. Like those are the people who inspire me, and the ones
Got
who are
you.
curious and keep pushing themselves and
Right.
trying these new things to keep growing, you know?
Hmm.
And so that's what I want to do. And that's why even that the Buble thing, I was like, that was just fun because I'd never done that before.
Right.
I'd never filmed an unscripted thing. I'd never sort of like put myself in that kind of spot as a
Uh-huh.
performer, you know? So it's like, how do you find these things that are exciting and then like run towards them and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
not be afraid to try? And so
Totally.
that's what I would love to do with enough money to do it, you know?
Dope. Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Absolute. What do you think is a lesson that you've learned through both comedy and storytelling that sticks with you and you carry it into everything you're doing? Like a lesson you learned maybe early in your career, lately, and you're just like, this is gonna stay with me.
Um, I mean, a couple of things. I think the biggest thing. So I teach like screenwriting also to undergrads, and so
Okay.
I tell them a lot of like, you know, there's one writing rule. I'll get into a broader thing after, but there's one writing rule that people say.
Mm.
Sometimes they say like, never write a thing unless you know the ending of it, and
Mm,
I kind of think that's nonsense. So
got you.
I tell them how much I disagree with that, because I think
Hmm.
just like we were talking about with the theme and the characters being right, I think you
Right.
want to feel it out and see where it ends up.
Hmm.
So I guess what that the broader thing of that is just being open, like
Yeah.
being open to where the story could go, being open to where the joke could go, being open
Hmm.
to where your career could go, you
Yeah.
know, and just like um going where the excitement is. It's
No
because it's
doubt.
all so hard. It needs to be stuff that is like the challenging thing is also the thing that's exciting to you. Because if it's
For
making you
real.
miserable, like, well, you don't have to do it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, especially in any creative path, it's like
Come on.
find that thing that is exciting to you because it's all
Hmm.
so much work. You need to have that kind of fuel behind it.
For
And
sure.
that goes into the biggest thing I've learned over and over again, which is like of just like trusting your ideas, and the people who say no in some ways they're not necessarily right, you know, and so
Hmm.
you can avoid them. But sometimes it's like, okay, well, how do I make the thing stronger? How do I
Yeah.
continue to make it better and use those no's?
Hmm.
Because you get so many no's,
For real.
like all the time, that I think like that's a thing that I see talented people get discouraged.
Yeah.
But it's like it's going to be mostly rejections, and so
Come on.
you need that. That's what I'm saying. The excitement of just like you need to continue to make it stronger, better. Like
Hmm.
this stuff that I'm working on that's in really good places. 1,000 people have told me no on each of these things,
Come
and
on.
so then you just keep going with it and
Right.
dig deeper, and then it's like if you believe in that thing. And so I guess that's what's fun is like, oh, I've seen that with Flatbush now, so I know like
Hmm.
I can get it there, but you just have to stay with it and stay
Yeah.
in it and dig deeper to be like, okay, what is that thing that there's some cool like Baldwin quote I read recently that was like it was like behind I'm butchering the most eloquent person ever,
Oh, good.
but he was like, but so it was like underneath like everything is like the desire behind it. So
Mm-hmm.
behind every table is like the effort and passion it took to make that
Of
table,
course.
like that kind of thing. So it's
Of
like
course.
all that to say, just like maintaining that fuel and excitement.
Mhm.
And curiosity, I think, is like everything for your own stuff. And the people who are blindly discouraging, they're probably not even listening, you know?
Yeah,
So
for real though.
like it's okay, you know?
That's such an important point because I think about the sort of like inner voice and like the sort of opposition that's just only living in my head that
Mhm.
just discourages me so often. I'm just like, no one actually is rooting against you. You just have these
Right,
voices in your head from like maybe
right.
past trauma, but like those
Well,
voices don't matter and aren't even real. They're in your head. You know what I mean?
yeah, and they're just thinking about their own shit, you
That's
know?
it.
There's a great story I heard of Rodney Dangerfield,
Yes.
the Eddie Murphy one. Have you heard that?
No, no, no. What's that one?
So, like, uh, Eddie Murphy's a kid doing stand up, and Rodney Dangerfield.
Uh-huh.
And Eddie Murphy's like, "Hey, can you watch my set?" And Rodney's like, "Yeah, sure, kid." And
Uh-huh.
Eddie Murphy goes up, and then Rodney's like, well, "I don't know where you're gonna get with that act. It's filthy. It's not really. Yeah, it's
Wow.
not. Um, I don't know. Best of luck, whatever." And then Eddie Murphy becomes Eddie Murphy, and then like
Right.
5-10 years later, they're both in Vegas or something,
Uh-huh.
and Eddie Murphy's at the urinal, and
Yeah.
Rodney Dangerfield walks into the urinal next to him and turns over to Eddie Murphy, and he's like, "Hey, who knew, huh?"
He's like, "What do I know? What do I
Oh,
know?"
who knew, huh?
Oh, that's great. That is great. That is
And
great.
it's just like, yeah, I don't know. He's
Yeah.
somebody's on. I was like, what the fuck does he know? You know,
Right, right,
it's
right.
all just like
Like,
chaos. You know,
helped you best as I could, but I'm glad you did
yeah,
listen.
yeah.
That's amazing. So Dan, where can people keep up with your work, and what's the best way for fans to support what you're doing right now?
Um, yeah, just follow me on all the things that Instagram, TikTok at
Mm,
Dan J Perlman. I have my Substack. You can subscribe to that. All free, and yeah, those are the main things. And I'll just keep posting
mhm.
and let you know about shows that are important. And just like, yeah, if you like my stuff, if you want to see Flatbush, you just DM me. You can
Yeah,
get the whole series,
it's
and just
awesome.
like keep sharing that stuff because I want that helps people find the next projects, and so I just want
Right,
to keep
right.
building organically with people who fuck with what I'm doing, you know.
Yeah, that's so wise, man. So, lastly, if you could give some advice to aspiring comedians, writers who are listening or watching you right now, like what would you tell them?
I mean, really, just keep creating in any way, shape, or form,
Hmm.
any way that you can with any limited resources, because that is going to be the thing that makes you better, you
Hmm.
know. Um, and whatever, and the way that looks now is very different than the way that looked even 10, 12 years ago when I was starting. You know, it's
Right,
like
right.
with whatever vertical thing or shit for TikTok or whatever that is, it's like
Hmm.
just continue to do that because the more you do that, the more you get the bad stuff out of the way, and just
Hmm.
keep going with it, and find that stuff that is like I was saying, like is exciting to you,
Hmm.
and not, oh, I need to be doing. It's so easy to be like to see somebody doing a thing and like, oh, they're doing a man on the street video. I need to run out
Of course.
with a tiny mic and use it and
Right,
stick it in people's face or whatever. But it's like
right.
you got to do this shit that is like that is interesting or exciting to you and
Yeah.
your thing, because it's like the people you see trying to get a grasp on the algorithm, it's like
Mhm.
it's sand. It just slips through your hands
Come
right
on.
away. And
Right.
so you gotta find you do need to like use that shit, but
Mhm.
also it has to be from some place that is like interesting and self-motivating for you,
Yeah,
you know?
totally it, man. Totally it. Well, wise words, and I sincerely commend your work to anybody who's watching, listening. Brother, it's hilarious and brilliant, man. So thank you again for joining us
Thanks
on
so
Baddest
much, man.
Chaplain. No doubt,
I
no doubt.
appreciate you, man.
Oh no, likewise, man. Likewise, for sure. And y'all, thank y'all so much for being here. As always, catch us on baddestchaplain.com. We're on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, everywhere you get podcasts. Yeah, man. Till next time, y'all be safe out there. Talk to you soon. Peace.